location for this call, and LA traffic had a say in the matter. So why don't we go ahead by start with you giving us kind of the story of your afternoon?
So yeah, typically I get home or to the Airbnb around 1:45, 1:30, and I was going to be able to sit down, set it up, and be comfortable in the chat. But then this morning, I had to, for one, I played one-on-ones with Chris Paul and OG Anunoby, and then afterwards I went to go play pickup, and I was with KD, Kyrie, and all those guys. So that's why I'm kind of running late. The pickup ran over. We played more games than I thought we were going to. We normally play like 6 or 7. Played, I think, 10. So now I'm just kind of pulled over on the side of the road and talking to you guys. Hopefully that's not bad or anything right now.
No, we appreciate you giving us the time. So we'll go ahead and use the raise your hand function to ask Grant questions. And we're ready we'll start with Gustavo.
Hello, Grant. Can you hear me?
I can definitely hear you.
Great. So how was the hardest part in your transition from college basketball to NBA? You know, what was the toughest way to adapt to the pros?
I think the toughest way to adapt is just being able to be on your own. I feel like that's kind of difficult. You don't have the highs and lows. You're focused on you have to be more focused on yourself. Coaches are there for you, yes, but you're also a professional now, so they're not going to walk with you hand by hand, like Coach Barnes did a good job of keeping guys engaged, and also not only keeping guys prepared, but in the NBA you kind of have to be prepared yourself and have confidence in yourself, and that's something that is always difficult.
We'll go to Rob.
And follow up. And what was? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Gustavo, with your follow up.
No, I was going to say, which was the toughest thing to adapt? Like, what was the biggest difference between?
The biggest thing was pace of the game, probably. The speed, the talent of players. Like, you don't realize how talented these guys are until you're playing against them one-on-one or up close and personal. So I think that's probably the most difficult thing, is understanding the pace of the game. Is 6 seconds less on the clock, as well as the talent that you're guarding.
We'll go to Rob Lewis, then Ben McKee.
Grant, did you have any, kind of fanboy moments where you're on the court and kind of had to pinch yourself that, I'm really, guarding this guy, or, playing against this guy or with this guy at all?
I think that was more so Draymond, because as everyone knows, when I was going through high school, college, he was my favorite player. So the first time I ever wanted to kind of be in that role. So next thing you know, it was definitely a moment for me when I played against him for the first time. I've met him before, so playing against him was unique. But every other guy kind of it's a competitor in me, and I'm like, okay, I just want to take on the challenge. So no matter who I was playing, there was a bunch of names where it was like maybe Giannis or Pascal, all those guys. I'm just like, I'm playing against them, cool. And let's just compete and get this win. So it was definitely an interesting time. This is my first time ever playing against KD and all the guys, so him healthy and stuff like that. So that's unique. And Kyrie had never played this year either. So seeing the shots that they make, how talented of scorers they are, so you have only nothing but respect for them.
Which aspect of your experience at Tennessee do you feel helped transition to the NBA? And was there a practice or a game where you found yourself thinking in your head that Rick Barnes would kind of be laughing at something you're doing at that moment in time? Or did you hear his voice pop in your head? Any?
Yeah, I feel like Rick, coach, used to always say I couldn't guard anybody and guard a soul. And then next thing you know, I get labeled as a defender in the NBA. So I think that's the thing that was a funny part to me. I think he prepared me for sure to be more with the discipline of not only focusing on game plans and being prepared in film. So I think that's the biggest thing I took away from Tennessee. It was how prepared he had me for not only just a professional living, but the game itself. But I know that was a chuckle moment for me, was when everybody kept saying how great of a defender I was, how good I was doing this, that, or whatever, how much I communicate. And I look back, I was like, hey, Coach Barnes didn't want to nominate me for defensive team.
We'll go to Mike Wilson and then Trey Wallace.
Yeah, Grant, you're talking about the defensive play. After you made that play against the Raptors at the end of the game, did you make sure that Coach Barnes got that clip in front of him so you could point out the plays you were making?
I didn't. Hopefully somebody did, though, because, that's a big-time play for a big-time moment. So hopefully not only he's like, okay, maybe I can say he's an average defender now, but maybe I'll never get that with Coach Barnes, but hopefully I find a way.
Can you kind of reflect on that play and what that kind of meant to your rookie year, and I mean, obviously the moment and everything contributing to that?
Yeah, it was definitely an impactful play just because I had just missed 2 free throws, and I had got a freaking 3 cashed out of my face. Next thing you know, it's like, dang. So first off, you missed 2 free throws to help us win this game, and then you gave up the 3. That would have been rough. But the fact that I got the block and I didn't get credited for it, but I got the block and we got the stop. It was a big time moment for me. Especially you think about Eastern Conference semifinal, like that's a dream as a child. So and playing against a guy as talented as Fred and Kyle Lowry and those guys is always cool in the Raptors. So it's definitely one of those moments for me that kind of took me over to the top for the next series as well.
Sorry, another follow-up, Tom. You said that you're playing with KD right now. Have you two shared any Rick Barnes stories and memories that you two might have in common from your time with him?
We did in the past, not more recently. I remember the first time I ever met KD, he asked me about Coach Barnes and everything like that. But every time when I was playing defense yesterday actually, and I kept getting stops or I kept being physical in the 5s that were there, so like Bruno or Clint Capella and those guys, they're like, we know you played for Coach Barnes, like as in jokefully with the physicality and the type of play I was playing with. So that was the big time joke about having Coach as a person that was both in both of our lives.
Mike, you good? Okay.
Yeah, I'll come back more later. You guys can ask some questions now too.
I appreciate it, Mike. Hey, Grant, what was it in the bubble? What was life like for you down there in Orlando? And also, did you get any of your teammates involved in any kind of Catan, any kind of games that you like to play?
So it was definitely a unique experience. I enjoyed it because I'm a homebody in the first place, so I don't really do much anyway. And I got the camaraderie of guys all around me and being able to play cards or play board games, card games, which I do enjoy, video games. So I made a lot of great relationships. Most of the time, I didn't get anyone to play Catan. There were people playing, but they had their group already. So I was kind of heartbroken. It was the Denver Nuggets, Mason Plumlee and those guys. So, but they had their whole staff basically was playing. So every time somebody dropped out, I was trying to get in, but they had basically people on call. So that was tough. But we played the game of choices for us was spades. I think it was me, Kyle. Kyle was there in the bubble with me. Jamal Murray and Chris Silver from South Carolina was our group most of the time that we went up and played cards together most of the time. And it was a great experience. I think the first couple of days, as everyone said, like the food was definitely different, but I wasn't complaining because it tastes good. Just the presentation was different. So let's just say that the bubble definitely got better as time went on for sure. And at the very end, you kind of do miss your family. That's something I did struggle with. But outside of that, I thought it was a plus.
We'll go to Grant Ramey and then Rob Lewis.
Grant, I guess the connection to this group on the West Coast is Chris Paul, but kind of how.
Grant, we lost you for a second. Keep going.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ramey, this Wi-Fi, man, I'm on the side of the road, and I can't even hear you, Grant.
We'll go to Rob Lewis, and Grant can text me his question.
Hey, Grant, just what was the mental adjustment like for you going from, the number one option on your team, 2-time SEC Player of the Year, to a role player on a really good NBA team? What was that like mentally?
That's definitely something I'm still kind of adjusting to. You kind of don't have the same feel or like the same shots you may have made in college you're not making because you don't have the ball as much in your hands. And people don't really notice that as much because it's a very different and contrasting jump. And I'm comfortable with it because I move the ball, but in terms of shooting, it definitely was kind of weird because normally you get the chance to feel the ball. You can take your time, and you have the shot. No, any shot's a good shot versus now it's like you have to make the right shot, and if you don't take that shot, it's a bad shot. So that's something you get accustomed to. I'm still kind of learning how to not only just be comfortable with the ball in my hands off a catch and just being able to shoot it then versus taking your time. So that's something that is definitely an adjustment, but I feel like I've gotten better with as time was going on.
Mike Wilson and Trey Wallace.
Yeah, Grant, I'm obviously the NBA is very good with social justice and talking through a lot of issues in this country right now. How did you kind of develop a voice in some of those things? I mean, I know you're very outspoken when it comes to the WNBA. I know you were very vocal about voting. How did you kind of find your voice in the NBA this year?
The way I found my voice was I never lost it. I was fortunate enough to be a rookie on a team where they allowed me to not only speak up but be myself. And let's just say that I always found like stay communicating, communicate guys the right way. They knew it was coming from the right place. I never tried to disrespect anyone. So I think that's the biggest reason why I kind of had a role of not only leadership but communication on the team from when I got there to where I was in the future, and just having a lighthearted mentality and hopefully just bringing some smiles to guys' faces day by day. So I think that's what made the experience so nice for me, especially the transition, because you go into a whole new team. You never know how it will be. They could make you be quiet. Like as your rookie year, you're not supposed to say anything, most teams. So for them to allow me to be myself was amazing.
Hey, Grant, so towards the end of last year, Tennessee didn't really get to wrap up. Things ended in Nashville without actually being able to play a game. For you guys, it ended up in the bubble. You actually got to finish your season. How do you characterize that time from when everything kind of went crazy there in March to when you actually got to the bubble and got to finish it? Is there any kind of correlation between what you would tell the players last year that didn't get to finish their season on how to attack this year?
Just attack it day by day with the right mentality, because we're all going through kind of the same uncertainty. Less like you're kind of cautious of like security of others. So you just have to go out there and compete, because if you don't, you're going to be thinking about so many things on the outside that you can't really control. So I've kind of embraced the whole saying of control the controllable, and focusing on the fact that you have the blessed opportunity to play this game. Just make the most out of it, and don't ever kind of be down about it, because it's a fortunate opportunity. It's definitely going to be a unique position that we're all in, but hopefully we can tell these stories to our children or grandchildren in years and look back on it and say that we persevered through it.
And a quick follow-up to that, how would Yves Pons coming back this year? The NBA draft has been so wild, it's being pushed back and whatnot. How big is that for Tennessee, having him back, having a guy like John Fulkerson back, guys that you know? That decision to come back, I know it's not hard because you had to make the same decision. How do you think Tennessee benefits from that this year?
Oh, they benefit so much because of the fact that Fulke and him both bring not only a veteran leadership role, but also just they know the system. They can teach the young guys, because I feel like this is the youngest we've been in I don't know how long. We've usually had a team full of guys who play most of the minutes that are either sophomores, juniors, or even part of, like last year we had Josiah probably was one of the freshmen, as well as Devontae Gaines ticket. But outside of that, we still had Jalen Johnson, we still had Jordan Bowden, Lamonte for a period of time. So Santi having a year of experience is huge for us now. So the whole team hopefully will just be able to not only learn from those two guys, but also grow together as a young team. And they're going to experience some woes throughout the year, but I think the talent that is there, I've watched practice, and I think it's a team to be really excited about. And lastly, like when you think of Yves, like as a defensive player, he anchors that defense, as well as Fulke with his athleticism and his expansion on the offensive game and his role. I'm just excited to see how they perform, because Keon Johnson's a talented kid. Jaden Springer's going to compete his balls off, and you have like Santi and Josiah coming back, and down the line, Victor Bailey just getting off of redshirting because of the transfer. So it's going to be an interesting year for them for sure.
Grant Ramey sent me his question. He wanted to know how long you've been on the West Coast, how long you'll be out there, and how you got connected with that group of players that you're training with.
So I've been on the West Coast for like 6 days, if that. I'm only here till Tuesday. The only reason I came out here was get my face scan done for 2K. And then I met these guys because I've kind of known a couple of them. I knew James before during the season we connected, but it was really because I'm training with Alex, and he asked me if I wanted to play in runs, and I was like, sure, I'll play. Who's playing? And they said these names, so I was like, cool, that sounds good to me. So next thing you know, we're playing, and whatever it is, don't step off the court. The first time I didn't lose. We only lost 1 game or 2 games, and then today we definitely lost a little bit more. But hey, kind of how it goes with the talent that you're playing with. You see guys like Kyrie or even other guys that are just hitting tough shots, and you're like, wow, this is the level that we're at. Like, this is how NBA works.
And before we go back to Gustavo, just one more time, give us the first and last names of some of those guys that you're training with.
So Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. Yesterday was Clint Capella, Bruno Fernando, Trae Young, Kevin Herter, basically the whole Hawks team. DeAndre Hunter. Who else was there? Landry Shamet, Ty Jerome, Quincy Pondexter, Dante Exum. Who am I missing? A lot of them. There's a bunch more. I know that for sure. Who was it today? I wonder who was it today. Oh, Christian Wood, Svi Matu, I don't know how to say his full name, from Detroit, as well as Frank Ntilikina, Eve's friend, who I actually laughed about with Eve, talking about Eve going back. We actually had a good conversation about that. So that was that's basically the full group.
All right, now to Gustavo and Mike Wilson.
College basketball for you and NBA. Grant, why do you see your role into Brad Stevens' team? You know, he's very tactical coach. How you see your role and your fits into his team, and how you see when he arrived to the Celtics, how he felt into the team?
Well, I think my role is whatever he tells me it is. Last year it was just being a guy that kind of did everything for us, whether it was defending or knocking down open shots or just being there and being a great energy guy off the bench and always being ready in my role. So I think the role for him is just be myself, and what I do is kind of like a Swiss Army knife, just being reliable in whatever you need, whether you need to cut something or if you need to screw something in, yada yada yada. So I think that's my role. And then as a coach, he's a great, tremendous person. That's the first thing I say. He's genuine, kind-hearted soul, and he also knows what he's talking about on the court. So that helps also too.
Grant, obviously you and John Fulkerson are close friends, roommates, and everything. What was it like seeing John Fulkerson play the way that he did last year, the way that people have always talked about him being able to, and how much of that did you get to see and enjoy?
And honestly, it almost made me tear up. Like seeing Fulky not only persevere from what he was after his injury and seeing how he's performing now. Like we all knew he was capable. So the fact that he's kind of expanded his role, being more confident in himself, that honestly means the world to not only me, but I feel like everyone around in Knoxville and the community. And even Coach Barnes probably teared up seeing how Fulky was playing. And I think that everyone's happy for him and hoping that he repeats his success, because honestly, he's projected to be first team SEC. I think he'd be SEC Player of the Year. Like I think that's capable and something that he could possibly do. So putting my confidence and betting my money on Fulky and just betting my money on Tennessee as a team.
Would he be smart then to try to come back for a sixth year and win back-to-back awards to match you?
if he did that and just to get the back-to-back awards, I'm throw my hat off to him. But he's definitely be an old fart by then. I'm gonna call him oldie.
That was a bad joke.
Brent, I know you were navigating your rookie season last year with the Celtics, but what was it like to keep up with Tennessee and watch Tennessee games? And do you feel like you can relate to Vol fans in terms of the roller coaster of emotions during the game?
Oh, absolutely. I relate to Vol fans for sure, especially when it comes to basketball, football, softball, soccer, everything. I'm over here screaming at the TV, even though I know the people, which is kind of weird because when you're there, you kind of are focused more so on the sport yourself, and you're kind of like in more of a cheerful role. You're more so like, come on, commending people and like saying you're doing well, doing this. And now I'm out here, me and Josh Dobbs were over here screaming at the TV, watching the game. And I was like, oh, we need to be better. I used to be us. People used to scream at us the whole time. So I think that's the unique point of switching over from being a player to more so a fan now.
Trey Wallace.
Hey Grant, you and Carson Edwards ever talk about that game, man? And that ghost call at the end.
Anytime we have somebody bring it up or something like that, we always joke about it. But he always says like, not to expose anyone, but the ball definitely went off his foot before it went out of bounds. So he shouldn't have had the ball to get the foul anyway in the first fourth quarter period or in regulation. So we definitely joke about that. And hey, he ended up having a tremendous March Madness run, which helped him get drafted by the team that we're on. So we wouldn't be in this position if it didn't happen. So I laugh at it and we talk about it, but it's definitely still heartbreaking every now and again when you close the door, you're not with them anymore. You're like, dang, like We could have gone on and maybe move further.
Grant, we know when you were still a student athlete here, you enjoyed going to volleyball matches, soccer matches, supporting all the other teams on campus. In just a little while here at 6 o'clock Eastern, our soccer program is going to play South Carolina at home for a chance to win an SEC Eastern Division title. Just wanted to know if you had a message for the soccer program tonight.
I want to say good luck because you guys have had a great year. I've been keeping up. Not only just Aaron or Jada and everybody else on the team have been playing their butts off, and I'm just hoping that you guys pull it out. I think you guys are really talented and have the great opportunity, and just make the most out of it. Have fun and be who you are. And Coach Penske, I'm here for you if you need me, and I'm also happy for you. I hope you do well.
Hey, Grant, if you need somewhere to listen to the game, tune in to 90.2 The Rock. We'll be broadcasting the game if you need to hear.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll tune in if I'm about to go to lunch right now with Taco Fall and somebody from my agency. But hopefully the game will still be going and I can be able to tune in while I'll tune in during lunch. Might as well.
Well, Grant, listen, we really appreciate you joining us, and everybody in Knoxville is proud of you. I've been following you and the Celtics all year, and we just appreciate you giving us some time. And so you have a great rest of the day and a great weekend.
Thank you. You guys as well. Great seeing you guys or talking to you guys, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Thanks, Grant.
I miss you.
Miss you too. Bye, y'all.